What's good, YouTube, and welcome to the house. This is my first video from the brand new PC. I was just working on syncing audio and video, so sorry if I'm a little bit off, but I've been downloading 100 drivers, logging into everything, and now a brand new archetype that has dropped that looks pretty interesting by the art. I have not been spoiled on this yet. It is the, we're gonna murder this several times despite having the pronunciation. We're gonna let the computer say it for us.
Xiangjian.
Xiangjian is what I'm getting out of that, but I'm probably murdering it still. So, Fleur-de-Lis, new form of Donna Majesty, needs to be renamed. First off, we will be, from this point on, referring to, and there's some kanji, Swordmaster of the Illusionary Iris, Ayame no Sokenshi, as Xiangjian, Swordmaster of the Illusionary Iris. This is due to this kanji being a theme name in the set. While the latter part is obviously sword, this can refer to a variety of things such as elemental wheels to destiny to teaching. So a very loaded word, and with the Chinese influences of this group, we'll be using a Chinese sounding name. So basically it could be translated very differently. Let's go ahead and get into it, starting with very buff stats. A level 4 water worm effect monster, attack 17, defense 1800. All I know is these are worms, which is pretty exciting. You can only use this card's first and second effects once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, I like when cards start out that way. The ability isn't just locked to normal or locked to specialing, both. You can reveal one Xiangjian card or one worm monster in your hand. So any of this type, or maybe a Yangzing or a mix of other decks, special summon a Xiangjian token Worm Tuner, water level 4, attack 0, defense 0. While the token is on the field, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except synchro monsters. I expected them to block Halka-5X the moment I read that token was a tuner. The amount of actual future proofing in the game Halk does to this, but that's still pretty awesome. You don't get locked into worms or even in the archetype. You're just locked into synchros, which a lot of synchro decks do. Then it reads, if this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you draw a card. That is amazing for synchro decks. Being able to continue up resources without just relying on your extra deck for the resources is huge for the deck. And it looks like we go to another typing next. We have Wind, and we have ourselves Tai-A, the Xiangjian Sword Master, level 4 Wind Worm effect monster, attack 1800, defense 1500. Loving these base stats so far. You can only use this card's first and second effects once per turn. You can banish one Xiangjian card or one worm monster from your graveyard to special summon a Xiangjian token, Worm Tuner, water level 4, attack 0, defense 0. Wow, again, the ability to continue to create your own synchros. While that token is on the field, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except synchro monsters. Wait, only while it's on the field? Is that the same effect? While it's on the field? I was thinking turn long you're locked into it. Oh my gosh, just while it's on the field? This is pretty exceptional. If this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you can send one Xiangjian card or a worm monster from your deck to the graveyard. Foolish Burial on top of extra. This is getting kind of crazy for base stats. You have really good stats on the monsters. Level 4s, they produce other advantage, and then they continue to do positive effects. Man, Burst of Destiny is looking thick right now. We have Soken Gunshi Ryuan, Long Yuan, the Xiangjian Tactician, level 6 Fire Worm Effect Monster, so we're getting into thick levels here. Attack 1200, defense 1300, you can only use the first and second effects once per turn. You can discard the one other Xiangjian card or worm monster, special summon this card from your hand, then you can special summon a Xiangjian token, Worm Tuner, water level 4/0/0. While the token's on the field, you're locked out of the extra deck except synchros. I can't believe that's not all turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, inflict 1200 damage. So this is our first kind of negative value. You pitch a card to summon, it gets the value back, and then it just burns. So not even negative value, you end up pitching, but you get the token. The others are just far more plus. It almost seems negative, but you're supposed to get the value back from using the effect. Now, if the effect gets blocked, you still got another card. So usually it is par advantage and gets itself out of the hand as a 6. It's okay. Chun Jun, the Xiangjian Auspicious Beast, level 6 Earth Worm effect monster, attack 2400, defense 1800. You can only use this card's name's first and third effects once per turn. We get 3 effects now. During the main phase, quick effect, you can tribute a monster, special summon this card from your hand. That's pretty good for spot dodging, and you also get a decent body on board. Before damage calc, if your worm monster battles an opponent's monster special summoned from the extra deck, you can destroy that opponent's monster and this card. Then if this card was sent to the graveyard as a synchro material, so not in general, interesting, you can target one card on the field or in either graveyard and banish it. It is targeting removal, but banish removal. So if it's a synchro material, that's pretty darn good. It also gets itself at the cost of tributing specifically a monster, and before we're playing Lair or something ridiculous within this. And then you're able to also get a battle effect with destruction. You destroy that opponent's monster without targeting. I was thinking this effect would go with this hand in hand, but it's like 3 separate, but all decent effects for what it is. Ooh, we get some synchros. All right. We have Qi Zhao, the Xiangjian Grand Swordmaster, level 8 Light Worm Synchro Effect Monster. Attack 2800, defense 1000. Materials are 1 tuner plus 1 non-tuner worm monster. You can only use one of this card's names, first or second effects per turn, and only once that turn. I like this typing. So the tuner can be anything generically, but you then have to use a worm, making it trickier to get out and more inclusion. Okay, that's kind of, I see what you did there, Konami. I like that. If this card is synchro summoned, you can add to your hand or banish a Xiangjian card from your deck. Quick effect, you can banish one Xiangjian card or one worm monster from your hand or graveyard, then target one other effect monster on the field, negate its effects until the end of the turn. It targets, this feels kind of fair. I hate to say that. You can only use one of the first or second effects per turn once per turn, so hard OPT on choosing which effect you're using. But the adding to the hand is nice. Synchro, you get advantage, or banish, so you get choices. But then the other effect, the quick effect, you have to banish a card or a worm from hand or graveyard. It's still really darn good. Don't get me wrong. You're able to deal with a lot of things, and it does seem very powerful. It's just kind of soaking it in, you get a choice of. So when it's summoned, you do this, or you're having to choose it as something to force opponent's stuff. I wish you got it all, but then again, I'm greedy with card effects. It's a good card. It's a good card. We have Chang Ying, the Xiangjian Grand Duke. I told you I'd murder these names. Level 10 Water Worm Synchro, so we're up a level for the level 6 in the deck. Attack 300, defense 300. Materials are a tuner plus 1 or plus non-tuner monsters, completely generic this time. You can only use the card's third effect once per turn. Gains 100 attack and defense for each banished card. Okay, Grin Maju Mini. Monsters your opponent control lose 100 attack and defense for each banished card. Hello. If this card would be destroyed by card effect, you can banish one card from your graveyard instead. If a card or cards becomes banished, you can banish a card from your opponent's field and graveyard. Okay, that's a pretty darn good synchro. That is what I'm talking about. That is pretty good. Of course, it's a hard OPT on this, but you banish a card from opponent's field and the graveyard. It is each, so they have to have both, but that's pretty easy in Yu-Gi-Oh! That is big and generic. That is crazy. The Xiangjian Dragon Sword appears. Normal spell card. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. Add one Xiangjian monster from your deck to your hand, or if you control a synchro monster, you can add a worm instead, so any worm. If this card is banished, you can target one Xiangjian or worm monster you control, increase or decrease its level by 1 till the end of the turn. So it's just a nice secondary effect that goes with what you're doing, maybe helps you get to something specific, but this is where it's at. You're adding one, and then you can even choose further beyond. Then we have Xiangjian Men, the Grand Spiritual Peak. One second, are Tenyi's worm as well? I'll look that up after. I'm pretty sure they are. Normal spell card. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. Target one Xiangjian monster in your graveyard. Special summon it. If you control a synchro monster, you can target one worm instead. Target a Xiangjian in your graveyard. You special it. And then you can get an inclusionary second better effect again. If this card is banished, you can target a Xiangjian or worm monster you control, increase or decrease its level by 1 again. So just a cute little secondary effect that helps with your abilities. Xiangjian the Research, we have a trap card, normal trap. You can only use the first or second effects of this card's name once per turn. Target a face-up monster you control, banish up to 5 Xiangjian cards and or worm monsters from your graveyard, and if you do, that target gains 300 for each. So it's an up to, you can decide, that helps with your win con in a sense. If this card is banished, you can special summon a Xiangjian token, Worm, Water, Tuner, and I'm guessing while the token's on the field, you can't special summon monsters from the extra deck except synchros. That is still, I thought it was turn long the first time I read it. Wow, that's crazy to me. You can just go anywhere else in the extra deck after it's gone. Xiangjian Sudden Shift is a normal trap card. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. Target a worm monster you control and 2 cards your opponent controls. Destroy them. Hello, Icarus attack. That works extremely well with Yangzing. If this card is banished, you can special summon a Xiangjian token, Worm, Water, Tuner, level 4, 0/0, while the tokens on the field can't special summon monsters except synchros. I really like this archetype. It feels like Burst of Destiny is going all freaking out. This is really nice. I don't think it's all there all of a sudden, but the advantage, the climbing, the craziness, the ability to go into things. I like both 4s. I like both synchros. I like the support that this has gotten. You have searchers. You have abilities for extra advantage. This is crazy advantage the deck, and it doesn't lock you turn long into it. Man, people are going to be in the lab immediately. Burst of Destiny looking really good. You can pre-order on Big 3 deals, as well as, I believe, Gamer's Choice code WETSGOOD5 for 5% off if you're looking at that core set, either boxes or cases. It just gets better and better so far, though. But remember, it's the last set that probably will be in the 2022 Megatins. So there's also that. This is a core set for the books, though, or maybe we've just been dry that long. You have Flundrees, you have this. This is looking nice.